So as we
Last
were
time on
having
Moments
good
with
times,
ARGJ.
picnics, cookouts, going to parties, galas, sporting events, all of these things were happening in 2019. And we were enjoying ourselves without really a care in the world until 2020 hit. Get to choose what's next. You get to choose what's next and live in that what's next. Moving forward in a positive way, moving forward and choosing to be happy, choosing to be positive, choosing to not listen to naysayers, choosing not to listen to those people that are speaking negatively or throwing out negative thoughts. Now, don't get it twisted. Sure, life happens. There are things that happens to us in life, and they aren't always the best things that happen to us, but life happens to everybody. No one is immune from life, and everything that happens to us, it's not always the best thing that happens to us, but we can move forward even in that. Tomorrow will come. So how you choose to approach it is how you move forward. Now, you may look at me and say, well, maybe your life is all that great. I'm here to tell you mine hasn't been all that great either. There were many challenges in my life too. So I'm not immune to it, and I'm not here to tell you that I am immune to it. But I am here to encourage you, as I have to encourage myself on a daily basis.
Good evening. The topic is moving forward in a new season, and I want to first give a shout out to my little brother Anthony. Those of you that don't know, he's going through something right now, so therefore we are going to lift him up in prayer, and we're going to tell him that he is going to move forward. He's going to find that freedom that we spoke of a few weeks back, and he is going to push through this, just like he has all the rest of the things, because he has the power of God. And he has a firm belief in God and what he can do, because he has seen and have been a witness and been a living testimony for a lot of things that God can do in his life. So I was given the task of taking care of this week's episode along with my co-host that you will see or have already seen in the video. It is moving forward into a new season is the topic that I was given. So when you think about something moving, of course, movement is like my arms, like what we're doing. We are moving. When your heart beats, it's moving. When you walk, you're moving. When you move houses, it is moving. So to move forward into a new season can be spiritually as well as mentally and physically. And hopefully with over the next few minutes, we will touch on each one of these things. First of all, we will, like I said, lift him up in prayer. And I just want to humbly thank you for this opportunity to come back before you and give you just a little bit of my insight of what I feel the topic pertains to. And hopefully someone will receive a message from this and will receive a word that will enlighten them, open their mind, or even bring them back from wherever they're from, or either give them some type of clarity on a subject that they might not fully have understood. So, what does moving forward a new season mean to me, Michael? I have been moving forward in a new season almost every day of my life. Almost every day of my life, I consider myself to be in a new season because nothing is the same. And I know you say when you woke up like you did yesterday morning, pretty much around about the same time. You are correct. But Yesterday morning, I might have woke up and felt 100% great. I might have woke up this morning and my knee was hurting, my back was hurting, or I just didn't feel like getting up out the bed. Yesterday, I jumped up out and was ready to go to work, or whatever was facing before me for that day, or I thought was facing before me. So, you know, it's that is a different type of a movement that people do. They take it for granted, just like breathing. It's a movement, and people take it for granted. But you know how much it takes to make a person breathe properly every second of every minute of the day, and that is a movement that humans take for granted. So, what I have found here, and I'm looking for some scripture, of course, to kind of tie in with what we were saying, and the only scripture that I could find was in Daniel chapter 2, verse 21. And what it was saying is God was revealing Nebuchadnezzar's dream. King Nebuchadnezzar was asking Daniel what his dreams meant in a nutshell, and Daniel was being revealed by God what the dreams meant, and he was supposed to relay this to the king. And so, but the one verse that says, if you back up to verse 29, Daniel answered and said, verse 20 says, Daniel answered and said, blessed be the name of God forever and ever, to whom belongs wisdom and might. Okay, the verse 21 is the one that speaks about what we were talking about, where it comes out with moving into seasons and things changing. It says, he changes time and seasons. He gives wisdom. No, he removes kings and set kings. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those who have understanding. Okay. Now we're going to put the Bible away. So, at that point in time, it was speaking about how God has removed plenty of other rulers and kings out of their kingdoms for wrongdoing, or they just had their life had just gone. You know, so their lifespan had been lived, and they had done what they could in God's grace. But to move forward into a new season is to understand that nothing stays the same at all times. A lot of people get set in a way that they want everything to be the same 24/7, 365 days, every month, every time of day, every waking moment of their life. But that's a very boring life. Let's keep it real. You don't learn nothing. Because once you've done something one time and it stays the same way, how are you learning? How are you growing? How are you progressing? You know what I'm saying? That when you look at modern medicine and science, it doesn't grow by staying the same way it was 30, 40, 55, 2 years ago. It doesn't. It actually grows each second, each minute, each day, each hour, each waking moment. Each time one of those scientists or one of those professors or whatever, they think about something, they sleep on it, they wake up, so they have moved forward and they have changed the season of what they were studying right then for the good, or just to be learning whether it went good or bad. So for me to move forward into a new season, which I've done pretty much most of my life, my adult life, is to be able to accept change. You know, and a lot of people, like I said, cannot handle change. But then when you also move forward into a new season, you have to be able to accept things that cannot be in your control, and understand how and if it directly pertains to you and your life. And so therefore you can make it move for your good, or you can leave it alone. But if you cannot understand what you are facing or what is in front of you, and you try to use the same old tactics to keep it how you think you know it's supposed to be, then you are going to fail. You're going to be stagnant. You're going to be stuck in a rut and try to make everything conform to what you want, when therefore you do not make or break time and understanding. Time and understanding is two of the many things that is completely out of man's control. They belong to God, and they will always belong to God. And then when you can't understand this belongs to God, and you cannot feel that this belongs to God, then guess what? You're going to always be on the back end of the burner. because it's going to be a problem for you to comprehend what's going on. And we're going to leave you behind. Because I know one thing, I like to move in new seasons. I like to move and do new things. I like to see new things. I like to learn new twists to things. For you, those of you who don't know, I was incarcerated for a number of years, and I worked in the kitchen. And working in the kitchen, I was a baker, and I also was a special diet cook. Most of my years was spent baking. Excuse me, that's my dog, and he's right here with me. I've had him since he was this big, and now he's like huge. So, anyway, learning to bake a cake. There's multiple ways that you could go about getting the same product, and you will come out with the same taste. It just depends on if you have all of the same ingredients for each time. And sometimes you have to substitute. Like one thing that I learned, and this is always going to stick with me, brown sugar, maple brown sugar. Everybody has tasted it. Everybody knows what it looks like. But did you know that if you have the means to mix in baking, now I'm going to baking for a minute, but if you had the means to mix while you're baking, you could actually take regular white sugar and molasses, mix them together and get a thorough blend and come up with brown sugar. Never would have guessed it in my life. Now, if that's how they really make brown sugar, then guess what? I found that out. But I learned the primitive way, to put it together and figure it out way. And it was fun to learn that. So I was able to move forward and let my season change in my craft of what I was learning to do. And I got pretty good at it. I ain't gonna lie. Haven't baked in a while, but I'm pretty sure I could probably pick it back up if it was needed. So anyway, you must move forward when things change. You must move forward within your mind. Your mind, your mental has to be able to accept, process, and move forward with this. Because if not, once again, you will be stagnant. You will be stuck. You'll be confused. And therefore, we don't want to leave anyone behind. Because, you know what I'm saying, as we all know, we are all God's children, and we want everyone to benefit from his blessings and his grace and mercy. So we don't want to leave you behind. But everyone's understanding can be different. So, and then physically, seasons change physically. I'm a living witness of that. Because right now, at the age I am now, 20 years ago, I was probably 30 pounds lighter, but I appeared to be 50 pounds bigger because of my regimen. I was working out, I was eating, I was sleeping. So I was almost like something you would see close to a magazine. And, with age becomes time becomes age and deterioration. And I'm not saying I've deteriorated to nothing, but I am not what I was in my teens and my younger years. But, that's the season I am in, and I live in this season, and I have changed, and I have adapted the things that I do to be able to move forward in this season. Old sports injuries, I have elbow, shoulder, cracked collarbone, kneecap, ankle, foot, stuff like that. And when it shows me it's hurting, I back up and change my way of approaching things for that day, because I have to adjust to what's going on just in my season at that point in time. So we want you to understand that moving forward a new season is not a curse. A lot of times it is a gift, especially if your season that you're pushing into, you're moving into, is all good, whether it be moving from a new home to another home, to moving, even relationships. Your relationship can be moving forward into a new season that can be a greater season. Or even some people have actually went from what they say on the other side of the fence, the grass being greener, and they have moved. And so then when they move on to the other side of the fence, they see the grass ain't greener, then they want to learn from their mistakes or learn from what they did, and then come back and, and grow from it. Because it's all about growth. It's all about growth. It's all about mental growth. It's all about physical growth. It's all about spiritual growth. And if you can honestly say that, say at a 2-year span, a 2-month span, 5-year span, a 5-month span, or a 10-year span, or a 10-month span, or even 5 days, that you have grown spiritually as well as mentally and physically, You might not need to grow physically. You might be, where you need to be. But you always can grow mentally and spiritually. And once you accomplish this, once you achieve these goals, you're on a higher plane to where you are getting closer to the being that we believe in, who is God our Father. And so I once again, just want to give you a few short words and just come in before you and maybe give someone for this week some type of encouragement, some type of push. Let them understand that you need to be open-minded to good things coming so you can move into your new season. You can move forward. You never want to regress. You want to move forward. Even though you don't have control over the things around you, you can try to help things move so you are constantly moving forward. And you are receiving a blessing, you are being a blessing, and you are respected, by fellow man. Because there's a difference between liked and being respected. People can like you because of what you can do for them, but people can respect you because of your morals and principles and what you believe and what you say. So people can respect me all day, but if you don't like me, guess what? I know one person that does, and he'll never not like me because I am here. So, once again, I want to say, shout out to my New Bern, Kinston family on that end of the state. Brother, I hope that you are blessed. I hope you're feeling better. I hope they're getting everything back together, and we need you to guide yourself and gird yourself on how you expend your energy so therefore you can continue to move forward in your season. And don't let your time expire before it's ready. So, once again, my name is Michael L. Hatcher. I'm from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and I hope each one of you have received a good word from me tonight. And understand that God loves you. I love you. Be blessed. And just continue to move forward. Continue to move forward and be a blessing to someone as well as yourself. All right. Me and my dogs will get out of here. So y'all stay safe, and I'll see you around.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Well, today, this is going to be a little bit different. To those of you that really and truly know me, you know that laughter is a big part of my life. And so I want you all to take a trip down the memory lane with me as we look back on some old moments of the show and behind the scenes footage of me doing the show and recording. So I hope that you all enjoy. Alright, get the popcorn ready because I'm hoping you're ready for some laughter. Alright. Hello everybody, I'm back. And I'm back with you. Hello everybody, welcome back. I am back with this week's ARGJ Spotlight of the Week. And this week's Spotlight goes out to a very special person. And to be honest with you, I know some of you are and you're laughing at. Good evening and happy Tuesday to you. Welcome to this week's episode of Moments with ARGJ. Once again, I am your host, Anthony Gardner Jr., and it is a pleasure to be with you all on this evening. Before we start, I would like for you to take a moment and share today's episode. There's someone that has had a very rough day. They may have been on the verge of... What? Alright, so our first question is... Good evening and happy Tuesday to you. Welcome to this week's episode of Moments with ARGJ. Once again, I am your host, Anthony Gardner Jr. Before we start, I would like you to take a moment and share this episode on your page. So click that share button and just share it with all of your friends, and we'll get started very shortly. And I want to thank you all so much for tuning in today. I hope that you all get something out of what's being spoken. All right, today's inspirational moment is, well, if my mouse will work. Good evening and happy Tuesday to you. Welcome to Moments with ARGJ. Good evening and happy Tuesday to you. Welcome to this week's episode of Moments with ARGJ. I am your host. Testing, 1, 2. 1, 2, testing. Good evening and happy Tuesday to you. Welcome to this week's episode of Moments with ARGJ. Once again, I am your host, Anthony Gartner Jr. It is such a pleasure. Hi. Testing. 1, 2. Good evening and happy Tuesday to you. Welcome to this week's episode of Moments with ARGJ. Good evening and happy Wednesday. Oh Lord, I said Wednesday. Good evening and happy Tuesday to you. Welcome to this week's episode of Moments with ARGJ. On our new night, once again, I am your host, Anthony Gartner Jr. And before I start, I would like to take a moment and I would like to ask you to share this video. Share today's episode. There's somebody out there that needs to hear today's message. Take a moment and share this video before we start. Like I said, someone needs to hear this message. And we'll be right back shortly. All right. Good evening and welcome. Happy Tuesday to you. Welcome to this week's episode of Moments with ARGJ.